All right, what is going on, Busy Bariatrics? I want to thank you for being on here. I know there are plenty of things that you are probably doing between running around, either taking care of people older or younger than you, or really there's just a lot of good TV on. So if you're here, I know this is important and that you want to really optimize your bariatric journey. So what we're going to be covering tonight is part of the busy method. This is how I have helped hundreds of bariatric patients thrive after weight loss surgery. And we're really going to look at the three keys to avoiding weight regain, building real muscle, and finally looking like your lift without eating about 600 calories or restarting every Monday. So, if that sounds like something you want or something that sounds good to you, or you just don't want to start over every Monday, or especially after July 4th weekend, I think we all agree that Monday's a little tougher. If you want the plan that helped dozens of my patients thrive after 4th of July, just drop a one in the chat and I'm happy to see it. So, with that in mind, let me break down what the next 90 minutes are going to look like. Number one, we're going to go over my muscle priority protocol. This is why your scale lies to you and what the mirror actually tells you about the body that you are looking for after weight loss surgery. After that, I'm going to go into the reverse restriction method. This is why eating more is actually the path to keeping the weight off, and how I have helped dozens, if not hundreds, of bariatric patients eat more while doing less and getting the body that they want. And then we're going to close up with the weekend proof calendar code, which is why your calendar is your diet, your workout, and your relationship with food. At the end of that, I'm going to do a live metabolic assessment so everyone gets an idea of what we do and what we go on. So if you stay on the call and you volunteer, you will get your results immediately right off the bat. And we'll talk about what next steps look like. So, with that in mind, like I said, I'm someone who busy is in the name of the company. I know your time is valuable and you are here to learn. Let's get into it. So, I'm going to be giving you the three keys to stop living in the fear of regain, which I think is the reason we all had bariatric surgery, is we did not like the bodies that we were in or the weight that we were holding. And we're going to go to make sure that we never get back to that place. What I'm not going to give you is a 600 calorie meal plan or an idea that you have to restart every Monday, because we probably have already done that enough times and realized doing the same thing over and over again is not going to work for us. So if anything like this sounds familiar, you need to know you're not the problem. If you have had people in your life tell you you just need more willpower, you need to understand it is not a willpower issue. It is a metabolism that has been suppressed for about 18 months after bariatric surgery. If you've been told to cut your calories and walk more, you are already eating under 1,200 calories. Eating less is only going to make this worse, not better. If everyone and their mother has told you just get on a GLP-1 and you will be fine, I will tell you GLP-1s without a plan is exactly like bariatric surgery without a plan. It is highly ineffective and it is a waste of your time, money, and effort. But if you put the right things together with a GLP-1 or after bariatric surgery, you can have the life and the body you dreamed of. If someone has just told you that you just need to be more disciplined this week, if you have worked with another coach who just said you need to want it more, you need to push harder and do things, you need to understand that like that has never worked for bariatric patients, and that discipline cannot beat a calendar that has no Saturday morning written into it. And I'm going to explain what that exactly means when we go through and do the work of this. So you need to understand that in busy bariatrics, I believe in a solutions-based approach. I want to make sure that you are doing the right things at the least amount with the maximum results, because our time is money. We have a lot of things going on, and we want to ensure that we are getting the most bang for our buck without living in a gym, eating out of Tupperware containers, or working from sunup to sundown. So when we look at the muscle priority protocol, we're going to learn and teach you why the scale is probably the worst metric for a post-op woman and what you really should be chasing instead. Then we're going to really go over the reverse restriction method, which goes over how I teach my clients to eat anywhere from 400 to 600 calories more than what they are eating a day. And they watch their bodies actually tighten and get that beautiful hourglass physique that we want on the beach, as opposed to softening. Then we're going to go over the weekend proof calendar code. If you are someone who sits there doing all the right things Sunday night to Thursday afternoon, and you hop off this call and you're like, it's the weekend, now it's time to have me some fun, I'm going to teach you how to still do that without derailing all the hard work you put in the 6 days. And that system really works on running your weekend the same way you already run Wednesdays, and how we teach our clients to thrive on this system. By the end of the night, I want everyone to walk away knowing how to stop fearing the regain that creeps in at about 18 months post-op. I want you to know exactly what you need to do to build real muscle for the first time after surgery, how you can eat more food without wrecking your results, and also how you can run your weekends with the same confidence that you do your Mondays. To give you an idea, if you're like, okay, this guy has talked a lot, why should we even listen to it? This is me. Hi, I'm Rob DeMedio. I am the founder and head coach of Busy Bariatrics, and I have had bariatric surgery. At the On the left, you will see me the first hour that I came out and stood up after bariatric surgery, and that is after I had lost 50 pounds on my own from my highest weight, following the systems that I teach my clients today. On the right is where I was at my one of my leanest weights, where I have put together almost all of the tools that we teach our clients as well to do it. So when I talk to you about struggling with getting onto the beach with your family members, just know I have been there. If you feel uncomfortable taking off your top cover or your shirt and standing on a pool deck, just know that that was me for years. If you are someone who thinks, how am I going to do this with young children? I did this during the pandemic as well, where we had a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old that I was in charge of primarily with getting food together, educating them, moving everything together. On top of that, because I do believe that just because I've had lived experience does not make me the professional, I am also a NASM certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. I've trained through with some of the top industry pros from Next Level Coaching Academy and NASM, and I've coached over 100 post-op women through the Busy Method system I'm going to teach you tonight. I'm also the host of Bariatrics and GLP-1s for Busy People, which is a 5-star rated and reviewed podcast that is in the bariatric community that is available wherever you listen to podcasts. You need to understand that when we go through this, it is not you and it is not your fault that you are stuck in spinning your wheels. I went to one of the best bariatric programs in the country for my surgery, and even they got to a point where they said, we do not know what to do for you to get you to lose more weight. That is where I learned and trained from some of the best fitness and mindset experts in not just the bariatric community, but across the country. And this is how we picked our formula. You need to understand the formula that your surgery center gave you was built to help you heal and recover after bariatric surgery. It was not built to make you live the life that you wanted after bariatric surgery. Most bariatric surgeons primarily focus on making sure you have a healthy, speedy, and safety recovery. And in my opinion, that is their job. What you do with the tool after they have given it to you is entirely up to you. And what we do in Busy Bariatrics is we teach you the exact framework so that you are not living out of Tupperware containers or handcuffing yourself to a treadmill every minute that you have free. Again, these are not excuses. These are physiology things that are happening. The right response to physiology is a system built for the body you have right now. Most experts in the fitness and nutrition industry are working on clients that are either younger or in better shape to begin with. They do not know what it is like to work with someone who has struggled with obesity their entire life. And they certainly do not understand how to program or help build a lifestyle that works for people who have had an issue with food their entire time. Again, I say that because I've had bariatric surgery and working with hundreds of bariatric patients who have come to me from other fitness coaches and other places and been told you need to eat less, move more, and if you want it enough, you can absolutely do this. We do it a little differently, and because of that, we get even greater results. So, If you've been told something along the lines of, if the scale is not moving, you must be doing something wrong, you need to eat less and move more, try harder, you need to understand that the math is the math. And that is what every diet program, every dietitian, and everybody on Facebook group chats and Instagram will tell you. And I have to tell you, every time I hear it, when I either go speak on national stages, work with some of the top surgery centers in the country, or even handle other programs, I can't tell you how much I say I have never heard so many wrong things put together in sentences that absolutely will not get our clients results. And that's why when they say I'm going to do it my way, I tell them that's fine. I will talk to you in 3 to 6 months. For many other people, if you've been told or you were sitting late at night after you put your kids to bed or you get done your busy work schedule that your body is broken, you need to understand it is not. Your body has adapted to a formula that was built for year one and has no idea how to thrive in year five. And that's the problem. When you look on social media, your Facebook groups, your sister's cousin who just had surgery, everyone all looks amazing at year one because they are eating about 600 calories, moving and doing a burn boot class or whatever they want to do, and then wonder why each year they're gaining another 5 to 7 pounds that slowly creeps up to the 10-year mark, and now they're back to 70, if not 100 pounds back to where they started. So, once you accept that this is all true and that you need to change, there are three things that will absolutely change the moment you get into that level of acceptance. Number one, you're going to realize you need to stop fighting your body. Eating less is not the answer. If it was, you wouldn't be on this call and you would all be at your goal weight living your best life. Your metabolism is suppressed because of how it was treated, not because you have failed, but because you haven't given it the right things to burn your fuel and get everything together. You also realize because you do have something that's broken, you have to rebuild it. And the muscle that disappeared in year one is exactly what we need to get you to keep the weight off in year five. Rebuilding muscle is going to be non-negotiable if you want anything from picking up a toddler off the floor, which we have helped people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s pick up their own kids. We have also helped people in their 60s and 70s pick up their grandkids. That is the goal of what we do in Busy Bariatrics is we help you put it together, and that's through building muscle. The final thing you realize is like the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing and expecting a different result. Unfortunately or fortunately, once you hear exactly what you need to know, you either are going to do better or you know better. And depending on where you're in that camp, that is going to determine the results you get after this. The best example I can give you to start us off with is my client Tarot. Tarot is a mother of seven. That is not a typo. That is seven. With Tarot, we started 2 months after bariatric surgery, and I helped her lose over 100 pounds. And if you're like, Rob, I need to lose more than 100 pounds, you need to understand that Tarot stands at a massive 5'2" frame, which means 100 pounds on her frame is an incredible goal that she is hitting and still thriving and maintaining up to today. When we started, Tara was up at 5 a.m. every day because, again, 7 kids, cooking 3 meals a day for 9 people, and she was stuck in a pattern of regain. She had tried every diet, every meal plan, and every app. And if you gave her a merit badge for every single attempt that she had prior to bariatric surgery, she would have looked like a 5-star military general with everything that was on her sash. Um, and the problem was none of that worked. She realized bariatric surgery was going to be different. And if she wanted to get the results different than anything else, she had to handle the problem differently. I think we can all agree. If you have 7 children who are functioning and living and keeping them alive, it is not a question of willpower power of you as a parent. She said she needed a plan that worked with her actual life, not against it. And that is exactly what we did, especially when Terrell said that she was not willing to give up family pizza night on Fridays. And because she lives outside of Cincinnati, she wanted her Skyline chili at least once every 3 weeks. That's what we do in Busy Bariatrics. We do not restrict you for life. We teach you how to make it all work and put it together. And we ensure that you get the lifestyle that you want with the plan that works for you. So again, she's kept over 100 pounds off now for 2 years. So this is not a fluke. This is not a I got to the goal late and bounced it back. Terrell is living her best life. She is going to the gym 3 to 4 days a week. She is hitting a consistent step goal, and she is also moving her body in ways she never could have imagined. We actually got a chance to meet with Terrell again a few months ago, and she was actually helping lead our newer clients through workouts because she learned the exact frameworks I'm going to teach you tonight. And then we literally went to Skyline afterwards, and she had a coney and a four-way, which is the spaghetti with the chili and four beans on it. So again, not telling you you can't eat the foods that you love for the rest of the life, but teaching you how to balance it with working out as well as putting it together so that she is living the best lifestyle ever. Now, for those young 24-year-old shirt off influencers who are screaming at you in Facebook groups that you all have the same hours in the day, we know that that is not true. If you were on this call, you know that is not true. When you have 7 kids, some of you are probably falling out of your chairs if possible, but you need to understand you need a program that reflects that. And we needed one system that actually fit her life and kept her on point. So if you're like, well, maybe Terrell's a fluke, anyone can pull one rabbit out of a hat. I'm kind of one of those people because I'm a third by nature. Let's pull 3 more rabbits out of the hat. So as we go through, we're going to go that Terrell is not the exception in Busy Bariatrics. She is actually the rule. We have 3 more clients with the same system and very different lives. Ashley came to us in her 40s, and while working with her, she dropped 30 minutes off of her half marathon time and body comped to such a point that although she only lost 5 pounds off the scale, she had better shoulder definition. Her arms looked phenomenal in formal wear. She got that hourglass physique that allowed her to wear swimwear when she went to the pool with her kids. The best part is, not only was she stronger and faster, we also coached her through thyroid cancer recovery, which required her to go 4 weeks into isolation where she still maintained her muscle mass while getting radiation treatments. For some of us, it is the idea that we want to be able to wear a swimsuit during the summertime. For others, it is that we want to live, and we have ensured these results for people from their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. The best part Ashley could tell you is she stopped watching the scale and she started watching her reflection in the mirror. And the most important part was she loved everything that she saw. Our next client, Lindsay, was in her 30s. She came to me seven's another number that comes up a lot, 7 months prior to her wedding, and she wanted to lose 30 pounds, which is a very tough calculation to do when you are working as a top executive for a consulting firm in the Washington DMV area, to give you an idea. She also kind of let it slip as we were going through that she had a plan to do a month in Florida with her parents. She also had a bachelorette party in New Orleans where she would be gone for a week, and then her own bachelorette was going to be in Paris. All through this, she also got a major job change, which was a promotion, which meant that she got entirely new details that she had to add on and a workload. Not only did she hit her wedding weight goal, but she enjoyed every meal on every trip. And she also got the photos that she wanted. And the one above is her on her honeymoon when she was about to step out onto a beach. The best compliment Lindsay gave me, and you can hear on her podcast episode, is that she got to walk around on a beach, eat tacos, and live the best life that she wanted. Final example we'll talk about today is Lisa. Lisa came to me in her 50s. She was about 6 months post-op, and at that point had only lost 70 pounds and said, Rob, I'm pretty sure I'm done losing weight. But after working with me over the last 2 years, she has lost a total of 146 pounds. And she did this while going through menopause by restructuring around muscle training first and feeding her more food, not less. She is eating now 700 calories more than when she came to me. And she has lost that 146 pounds and has gone on to become a NASM certified personal trainer and now personally works on our team to help other clients replicate the results that she has got. So I say this with politeness. These women are very ordinary. None of them are that exceptional. What made them extraordinary was they had the right formula applied in the right sequence for the body that they have right now. That's what I'm about to pull back the curtain and show you over the next couple of minutes and how we do this for so many of our clients. So, the first part we got to get into is the muscle priority protocol. This is why your scale is almost always the wrong metric and what we need to start chasing instead. We're going to go over the core insight that every post-op woman is missing, why walking more burns the actual muscle that you need the most, and then we're going to go over the three components in order: compound training, progressive overload, and how to make active recovery work well. We're going to go through this with Lisa's story, where we got her to 146 total pounds lost, and she is able to squat her partner's body weight. So again, if you're sitting there saying like, Rob, muscle is not really the goal that I want, I'm going to tell you that it is not the goal for some of you. It is the goal for all of you. Whether you are sitting here at 17 or 71, building muscle is going to help you live the best lifestyle you could possibly imagine. Most post-op women regain weight not because they stopped eating well, but because they actually lost too much muscle in year one and nobody told them how to rebuild it. Muscle is the trick because it burns calories at rest. Muscle is going to pull glucose out of the blood. Muscle is the organ that makes your body look like a body that works out instead of a smaller version of the body you had before surgery. It's the reason why so many people who have had bariatric surgery or newer trends you see where people say like, oh, that person has like Ozempic face was a big phrase about a year ago. When they look that gaunt and thin look, it's because they haven't put the proper muscle onto their frame. And it's the idea that we're going to teach tonight. So when we have clients say, I want to be skinny, I tell them the goal is we need to be strong. What too many people will tell you is they need to walk more, track everything, eat 60 grams of protein, and hope that they don't regain, and that you need to just do more cardio to burn off the food that you have. And if you have a pair of 5-pound dumbbells in your basement or your guest room, swing them around for about 30 minutes, and that should do the trick. And in all reality, that is not a protocol that would work for anyone. That is a shrug that lets you say, I'm doing all the things and I do not understand why I'm not losing weight. What we teach our clients is to do compound lifts 3 times a week. We teach them how we track their lifts so that they can beat their numbers week over week and build stronger muscle. And we teach them how to properly recover with 2 off days planned. So many programs have this idea that you need to have no days off, where in reality, I say lives. We need to find the right 3 days on the right order that works for you and adjust them based on what we see on your calendar. So again, strength is going to be the metric that we look with, and that is what's going to give you the body composition that fixes themselves. If you are sitting here saying, Rob, I don't want to get bulky or look like a man, I totally get that. I am someone who has been lifting for years and still tries to get bulky and look like a man. The beard does a good job for it, but it is incredibly hard to build muscle. For the average lifter, or if you are a female worried about getting bulky, what it will actually do by lifting heavy and strong is it will make your muscles look bigger and more ripped, and it makes your skin pull tighter, which gives you that toned look that all women want. It helps build your shoulders and develop your back muscles so that you arch yourself. It lets your pectoral muscles stand higher. It allows your butt to look firmer. It tightens up on the back of your hamstring so when you're in a swimsuit, you don't have the cottage cheese legs that they used to circle in the old diet culture magazines of the 90s and 2000s. You know what I'm talking about. That yellow circle haunted women for years, and it's the one that they're all pointing at when they look at pictures of themselves on the beach. So, the goal is we need to compound train 3 days a week. You train the big movements. We're going to teach you how to squat, how to hinge with a deadlift or an RDL, and how to push and pull muscles. We want you to do it 3 days a week, and we don't want you doing it for any more than 45 to 60 minutes. Now, I will say that also means no less than 3 days a week and no less than 45 to 60 minutes. That kind of has to be non negotiable. Most post-op women are doing zero lifting or 90-minute bro splits that they either got from some magazine or they Googled, and they cannot sustain it past week 3. What we teach is that 3 sessions of compound work is the minimum effective dose that actually builds muscle. So again, that's what we're going to teach you is how to squat, hinge, push, pull 3 days a week, 45 to 60 minutes, and that is it. If you skip the compound work, you need to remember these 3 keys have to be pulled in order. I want you to imagine if you took a leg out from a 3-legged stool. It's not a stool anymore. It's an America's Funniest Home Video waiting to happen. So the point I'm making is you need to have all of these 3 things firing in the right orders in order to get the result that you want. The second part where everyone makes mistakes is I have so many busy moms, dads, and patients coming to me saying, hey, now that we have this recovery, we need to do this more because more is better. And I'm here to tell you more is not better. Better is not better. We need to teach you how to recover your body properly so that you have more time with your family members, your job, or whatever it is that brings you joy in your life. Lifting heavy without recovery is just slowly breaking yourself down. You really do need about 2 full off days, a walk only day, and a sleep target that actually works for your schedule so that you get it all together. Recovery is not optional. And one of the first things we do in Busy Bariatrics is we cut away all the fat in your program and what you're doing so that instead of doing all the things that you think you need to be doing after bariatric surgery, you are doing the right things. And that is the condition that makes training actually land and makes people look the way that they want to look. So again, 2 off days, 1 walk only day, and a sleep target you can hit on a Tuesday. If you skip the recovery, the training is not going to land. It's one of the many reasons why you see the same people go into the same gym at the same time and look like they have gotten no results year over year over year. That was me the first 2 years after bariatric surgery, and it continues to be issues for others in the field. So again, we see this with Lisa where she went from plateauing to squatting her body weight for reps. At our first conversation, she was walking about 5 miles a day. She was eating under 1,000 calories, and she was a Pilates queen. She loved it and said, look, Rob, I'm doing Pilates 5 days a week. I'm eating about 600 calories and I'm walking 5 miles. I don't know why I'm not losing any weight. I think I'm done now. What we did is, unfortunately, by science, her body really had no reason to let go of more weight because at 600 calories, your body is going to store every calorie humanly possible, which meant any chance that Lisa got a chance to go to a restaurant and she ate over 600 calories, her body held on to every single one of those calories in her midsection over and over and over again. What did we do? We pulled that cardio back. We went to 3 days a week of compound lifts and we logged every session. The same body got the different result because the order of operations got fixed. Now she coaches other people to do the same. This is actually about 30 pounds ago from Lisa. And if you were to meet her in person, she is a lot thinner and leaner than that picture even there. So, are we all in agreement like on this? Can we drop a 1 that we all agree we need to start lifting heavy, lifting often, and getting the results that we want? If you're here, you're paying attention, just a 1, a yes, something like that. That's great to see. So the next part, which is where everyone's like, well, where does the magic also happen? And I'm going to say in all three. But our second part is the part where everyone pulls the big notepad out, and that's the reverse restriction method. Your bariatric surgeon gave you the exact calorie amount to make sure that your body healed after bariatric surgery and returned to normalcy. That is an awesome place to be. Unfortunately, most bariatric programs do not follow up with patients after the 1 or 2 year mark and do not update your calorie goals, your protein goals, or reflect the fact that you have a busy lifestyle. So, what we are going to do is we're going to teach you why eating too much is not your problem at 18 months post op. We're also going to teach you how to tune the thermostat that your body is running and how we can turn it back on. Think of it this way. If you have a gas heater in your basement, which I do behind this beautiful black wall, if the pilot light went out, it wouldn't matter how much more gas I pumped through the system. It would not heat my house. If anything, it would kill me because now I'm just having a house full of gas. The thermostat's there, and we're going to teach you how to turn it back on as well as to prime it to burn everything possible. There's 3 pillars that we do with this. The first comes from building a protein floor. Then we're going to teach you how to reverse the calorie trend. And then we're going to teach you how to strategically place your carbs throughout the day to get everything done. And the best example we can do this is with Ashley. Ashley was eating about 1,200 calories, and 1,800 calories was where we ended up getting her to. And again, she took 30 minutes off of her half marathon while completely body comping. So, like I said, your metabolism kind of works like a thermostat. If you do not give it enough gas, the light eventually goes out and it shuts off. If you feed it properly, it will run. And the more gas that you feed it, if you have it running properly, the hotter the house can get. If you are eating under 1,200 calories and you are anywhere at an average height, anything over 5'4", you are probably not getting enough calories. Some of you are probably on GLP-1s, and again, no shade, I am on one myself. And if you are accidentally eating under 800 because you were not listening to your hunger cue, or you were saying, I'm not hungry for a meal, so I am going to have a snack, you are probably wondering why you feel like garbage. And the second that you get to the last day of your dosing of a GLP-1, that you were wondering why you were eating everything off the table. When you get to about 18 months post-op, you need to understand that eating too much is not your actual problem. The problem is that your body has been regulated to 600 calories, which means any chance it gets at an extra calorie, it is going to hold on to it for dear life. Because you've spent the last year and a half telling your body that not only are you starving, there are no new crops coming in and winter is coming. The way that we get you out of that is to teach you how to feed it on purpose and with intention. So again, you go into your Facebook group and Becky, the one with the weird haircut that like never really shows her face, but tells you every time you ask a question about like fruit, they tell you that like fruit is bad or that carbs is the reason you stretched your sleeve, or the idea that like, I could never eat that much. I promise you, Becky is binging on the weekends because her body does not have the proper carbs to run it. Meanwhile, she is screaming at you, just like the girlfriend at your workplace, to cut more calories, drop the carbs. All you need to do is get on a GLP-1 and then you'll never have to eat again, or that you need to earn your food with cardio. These are the same people who then go and sit in their office and eat a box of candy and wonder why it's not working for them. It's the same body with more starvation, and they are just fighting regain harder by the minute. What we teach is the reverse restriction method, which is how we teach you to hit your protein floor first and get intentional with it. And what we do is we add about 100 calories per week to see what's the maximum amount of food that we can eat. If you used to be morbidly obese like me and 365 pounds and spending about $750 a month on fast food, and no, that's not, I'm taking my kids out to Chipotle. That's, I'm getting pizza before Chipotle and spending 750. The price of Chipotle is not included in that. If you are doing that, the goal is, well, what's the most amount of food I can eat without gaining any weight? And we strategically build you up so that you can do that. The way we do that is to time a lot of your carbs around your training so that your body uses the proper glucose to get everything through. And then eventually your body says, you know what? Because we have all of these resources and they continuously keep coming in, I can burn these off because I know that the fire hose is going and I can just get the next food and go through it. So again, now we're teaching you how to eat more food, which now when your body does have your workouts down, it's saying, look, I don't have to hold on to every calorie to function this body because we're eating the right amount. We can finally build muscle. So we start putting muscle onto our frames. And because of that, now you're probably only like losing 5 to 10 pounds, but all of a sudden you're wearing formal wear and you have that beautiful hourglass figure. You're wearing that bathing suit by the pool and you don't have that roll of fat that's hanging over the top of it. That is probably the biggest win that my clients give me around this time this year is they say, Rob, I put on the swimsuit and there is nothing hanging out of the back of my bathing suit. Or they're saying, Rob, I'm going to spin class because I like spin class, or I'm going to the gym and my sports bra doesn't have me spilling out the sides or in the back. It's all hanging right in the front where I want them to look. And that's probably the coolest part of what we do is helping our clients get the bodies they want and the confidence that they deserve after weight loss surgery. So the one thing I will say surgeons, bariatric groups, and most everyone else does get right is the idea of protein, 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 protein. The problem is when they say protein, 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 and you say, well, how much protein do you need? They never have the right answer. Surgery centers are probably going to tell you 60 to 80 grams of protein, and then they're probably going to tell you if you're a male, 100 grams of protein, or if you're over 5'8", you can go up to 100 grams of protein. And unfortunately, it's just not enough protein. To give you an idea, and if you wanted to calculate it yourself, because I am not a witch doctor who hides it behind the curtain, your baseline should be about, and I say about very nuanced, 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight. That is your floor, and that needs to be non-negotiable. Now, I will say one thing we do is we start there and we see where you're at. But if you are only hitting 60 grams of protein and you need to get to 120 for that number, telling you to double it on after going on a Zoom call is the worst approach ever. We strategically help you build up to it by eating foods that you love in the portions that you want. When you also are sitting there going, Rob, I'm lifting 6 days a week. I'm running 4 marathons a day. I'm, eating every half vegetable and I'm only drinking a can of diet air after 2 p.m. because I want to make sure I have the body I want. I'm going to tell you, yeah, of course. That's why your body can't build muscle. It's thinking it's starving itself to be high. And that's why. The ceiling that we push for, we've gotten clients up to about 1.2 grams per pound. After that, you're really getting diminishing returns. And more importantly, I'd rather give you carbs and fats, which is what everyone always thinks they can never have after bariatric surgery. So, what we practice and teach is to hit about 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight and to hit it before anything else. You need to understand that protein is not optional, everything else is built on top of it. But then the real trick is like, how do we add fibers, carbs, and everything else to strategically get the body that you want? So, again, we're going to reverse the calories trend and we're going to do it slowly. If you are eating about 1,100 calories a day, you do not jump to 2,000 calories on Monday, which is comical because I've had more bariatric patients meet with just an average Joe Schmo fitness influencer who gives them a cookie cutter meal plan and says, look, you are 5'11, 187 pounds. You should be eating 2,600. Well, if you've only been eating 700 calories a day, asking you to eat 3 times that amount is going to drive your body bananas. So what are we going to do? We're going to gently and strategically bump your body about 100 calories a week, and we're going to use it from food sources that actually build muscle and most importantly, stabilize your blood sugar. Those are going to be the two main things we focus on. Within about 8 to 12 weeks of working with us, most women are eating about 400 to 600 more calories a day than when they started. They're also lifting more and they're starting to look better in the mirror and feel confident. So, What you can do is take about 100 calories per week and slowly add it and make sure that it is sustainable. The reason we do that is your body needs proof that food is coming, and we do that 1 week at a time. So many people say, like, well, I'm just going to add 100 calories every week, and in 8 weeks, I can eat 800 calories more. Well, if you're gaining about 5 pounds of body fat throughout that process, you're not really tracking the data or doing it. Or the idea is like, well, my body handled 100 calories first. Let's give it a jump of 200 calories next. And again, you need to see how your body is responding. You need to weigh yourself regularly and reverse yourself out properly so that you can eat the max amount of calories while building the body you absolutely love. So again, most people in your Facebook group are going to tell you never eat a carb again. The banana is the reason you are getting fat. And if you have any more than one slice of watermelon, you're going to completely derail your progress. And I will be the first to tell you, as a Jersey native, if you took away my corn, tomatoes, and peaches, I will fight you. And I say that because you need to make sure that everything is put in the right places. You can have carbs if you are putting them strategically. We teach our clients to eat rice, potatoes, all that fresh produce I told you, and to put it around there so that you are having a pre-workout peach and loving your life, and then being able to have the rice or the pasta that you want. Again, if you can't tell by the last name, Italian. If you take my Jersey corn, Jersey tomatoes, my blueberries, and my peaches, and then you also tell me I'm not going to have pasta, I got to tell you, I'm not sticking to that diet more than 10 days, and I'm certainly not going to keep to it for 10 years. We teach our clients to eat the foods that are important to them in the process that gets them the results. So again, we're going to go back to Ashley, who was absolutely afraid of carbs when she came to me. She said that she wouldn't eat them, wouldn't touch them, wouldn't go anywhere near them. By the time we got her through radiology treatment, started getting her to run marathons even better, she was eating more food than she had in 2 years, and she was finally seeing the results that she deserved. The other crazy part about all of this, Ashley now runs her own bakery where she makes sourdough bread and scones. So she went from fearing and avoiding a life of carbs to being able to bake them and sell them and also enjoy them on her own time. So again, when I met Ash, she was eating about 1,200 calories and still gaining weight. And on paper, it shouldn't have been possible because Ashley's about 5'10". Her schedule was wrecked. She was completely stressed. Her hair was falling out. She looked, in her own words, not mine, haggard and tired. Her hormone panels were coming in wrecked, and pretty much every doctor told her just to eat less and walk more because anything else she did was going to be a trouble, especially with thyroid cancer diagnosis and having to get ready for it. What we did is, as we got her through her cancer treatments, we also strategically moved her calories from about 1,200 to 1,800 over 8 weeks. By the time that she was done, she was eating about 2,200 calories, and she was still taking her half marathon floor off. Ashley will tell you though, she's like, Rob, I'm not losing any weight. And my answer was, yeah, but Ash, you're also not gaining any weight. And now you're eating about 600 calories more, and you can finally have scones and macaroons, which were her two favorite foods that she thought she was never going to be able to have again. That's where we came in and made sure that she got to do this while also developing a physique that she was proud of, that she wore formal wear for the first time in 20 years, and also was able to get everything else together and drop that 30 minutes off her half marathon time. So now we know we got to build muscle. We know we got to eat enough to fuel that muscle. How do we put it all together if we are parents, high functioning executives, have 87 things on our to do list? And this is where the weekend proof calendar code comes in. Why your calendar is the diet, the workout, and the relationship with food. So, what we're going to do in this last segment, I'm going to teach you how to listen to your body, fails most post-op women on a Saturday morning, and what a calendar negotiates that willpower cannot. And I'm going to give you the three components. I'm going to teach you how to lay out your weeks in this session. We're going to go through our decision list and also how we teach our clients to do a Sunday reset. So, if that sounds good and we understand that we need to build muscle, we need to eat more, and our calendar is important, drop a one so I know you haven't disappeared off the face of the earth. Beautiful. Anja, Kelly, Vivian, Jody, Jamie, awesome. You're all here. I am loving it. So, the best tool I have ever taught clients to use to lose weight after bariatric surgery is their calendar. Your calendar is where your workout plan lives. Your calendar is actually where your relationship with food lives. And if you're like, Rob, that doesn't make any sense, you're going to be like, yeah, but a lot of people tell me that. And then I show them otherwise. The reason you are crushing Monday through Thursday morning and falling apart on Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday is not because all of a sudden you conked your head or had a bottle of wine on Friday and forgot how to do all of this. It is because the calendar you built for Monday through Thursday does not exist on the weekends. The weekend proof calendar code removes the decision. You do not white knuckle the weekend. You run the weekend the same way you run a Wednesday, and you run it over and over again. So you are slowly rinsing and repeating a pound to a half a pound lost each week, which you're like, but Rob, that means I only lose 4 pounds the first month I work with you. And the answer is, well, yeah, but by the time you're done with us, if you stay with us a year, you're 48 pounds heavier. Do me a solid. I'm a history teacher by trade by math, and I don't have a pad in front of you. If I could tell you, you could be 48 pounds lighter this time next year than this year. Could you drop a one and like just tell me, does that sound like something you would go for? Oh, this is unfortunate. Only two people think they want to be 44 pounds lighter. Okay, we just needed to wait for the pause. Perfect. It's just like when I teach high school during my day job. I ask the question so simple that people are like, he can't possibly be serious, and then he checks on all of this. So again, let's go through what everyone says. When people are like, hey, like you got to understand, everyone on this call, you're intelligent. You figured out how to register, you signed up for things, you put it on your calendar, which means you kind of have an idea of how all these things work. You need to understand that a calendar does not negotiate with you at 9 p.m. on a Friday after you've had two glasses of wine. And again, that same Becky with the Bob that's in your Facebook group who has no idea what she's doing is going to tell you, you just need to listen to your body. Well, guess what? My body intuitively got me to 365 pounds. I can't listen to that voice. You just need to practice balance. Again, this is the woman who binge eats candy and then has a bottle of wine every Friday and then starves herself and wonders why she feels terrible by Monday morning. Space and grace. We need space and grace. Well, guess what? Every time I've given myself space and grace, it also means another 5 to 10 pounds. And the best example of that could be in almost any point of my life when I am dealing with trauma, grief, loss, even some gains or high stress periods, and I say space and grace, I'm 20 to 30 pounds heavier than when I started that process. So many of you are sitting there Friday, maybe after that second, third, or whole bottle of wine, and you are waking up and saying, oh, I may not feel that well. But since I've already had wine on Friday, there's no point in worrying about Saturday. Let me go out to breakfast with my husband. Let me then go shopping for most of the afternoon. And then maybe for dinner, because I've been out all day, I'm going to pack something else, or we'll just go to the Applebee's and get the chicken flingers or whatever they call their deep fried food at this point. Um, Nothing against Applebee's, but a lot against Applebee's. If I go out to a restaurant, I want a good restaurant. Like, and not to say that Applebee's isn't good, but like for me, I look at it as like you can blow your money and let it hemorrhage out, or you can have like maybe instead of four mediocre meals at Applebee's, you have one really good one at the restaurant that has the good chicken parm. And in Jersey, it's pronounced all of them. Anywho, that's the comedic joke for this one. I'll keep it pushing because no one laughed or gave a comment on it. So, weekend proof calendar code. We're going to teach you that Saturday morning we put a strategic training in there so you were starting the day right. More importantly, because you are building muscle, your body is going to pull that glycogen and take the carbs you use from Friday and Saturday and put it in the right place. We're going to make sure that you have that beautiful Sunday dinner that you probably love. For me, as an Italian, that's pasta almost every Sunday until we get to Labor Day and Memorial Day, that window. And that's when we have ribs. But again, that's my culture. That's what I love and what I do and how it's important to have. Pizza Friday is a non-negotiable in the D'Amelio household, and it was never part of something we took away. Also, I don't want, like not to knock some of it, but whenever I see recipes for these, like, hey, I did it on a tortilla wrap and I used like sugar-free sauce and I used low-fat mozzarella stick, that's really just a sadness pie disguised as like actual pizza, and nobody really wants that. You want the good stuff that you absolutely absorb. So the trick that we teach in the calendar is we have to be able to absorb the blow of the weekend so that you are not having everything else. Oh my goodness, Christmas tamales. I have to tell you, I teach special ed and ESL, and the way I like my favorite students, and yes, I am biased, the ones who bring me their families tamales are like the best part of like teaching in December. So yes, that's exactly what we teach our clients to do is eat those foods that we love and have it in a way that does not ruin our progress. So what do? This is the tried and true system that we use in our household. Every Sunday evening, you lay out the non-negotiables for the week. Where am I putting these 3 training sessions? Where am I making sure that I have 5 protein first meals a week? What time am I getting to bed each night? If I do have a late night, where am I making up the sleep on the back end? How am I putting 2 social events on the weekend? We don't want to live like a monk and just live in the gym on the weekends. We are people who want to go to our kids' soccer games. We want to make sure that we are at dance competitions, celebrating all of our hard work. My other daughter does gymnastics. So we are constantly on the road on the weekends and having the best life possible. So we want to make sure that even with those, we still want to see our friends, our kids' friends, and everything else. We put it all on one page. If it does not fit on one page, your week is lying to you. And that is the biggest problem that we help fix so many busy parents and busy bariatrics is this idea of like not saying no, but saying no for right now. Getting strategic of, yes, I would love to go out with the girls. Can we do it in 2 weeks when my calendar clears? So many times we teach our clients how to put boundaries in place so that they are living a healthy lifestyle and not overcommitting and underperforming and then sitting every Sunday morning in church wondering why they are exhausted and got nothing done. So again, that Sunday list, we have to start making eliminations. You decide what you are eating Saturday breakfast before Saturday morning exists. And I promise you, Becky from the Facebook group with the bad hair, she is going to sit there and go, but Rob, and you know that, but Rob, how do I know what I'm going to want to eat on Saturday, the Sunday before? And they always say it like that. And my answer is, Becky, you go to the same diner or you go to the same brunch or lunch every place and you get 3 or 4 things. Look at your calendar and say, look, if you are going to brunch with your husband and you know you are having pancakes on Saturday morning, then that's fine. Have egg whites on Sunday morning. Maybe Friday we cut the calories down an extra 200 because we know we want the good maple syrup and we don't want to be that person who brings like a purse of sugar-free maple syrup in their bag. Like that's gross. 0 calorie ranch you keep in your purse? Gross. We teach you how to incorporate what you have and have the best deal. So again, getting strategic about when we are going out or doing things. For me, I do never want to like I've heard people actually taking scales out at weddings and they want to measure their food at a wedding. And my first answer is like at social functions, we do not track, we do not weigh our food. We work around that one and we bank calories strategically because if you give me an open bar and one of those swords with all the lamb chops on it, which is the best appetizer possible, I am not trying to track my grams of protein and I certainly don't want to track my alcohol if I have a designated driver. So, anyway, because you make those decisions in advance, you don't have to worry about being exhausted and letting your social brain make the vote. Again, that Sunday reset window. Then you're going to take one Sunday afternoon and you're going to look at the bigger picture of the month. But on every week, you're going to sit for maybe an hour and just look at your calendar and make sure it all fits. Then you're going to take a bigger zoom out and look at what your month looks like and see how many events you have in that month. There's more details to that, but that is the overview of how we teach our clients. And I tell them, look, I do not expect you to be perfect. I am someone who had to pass all of my math classes, and I'm just not good at math. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not. And I learned really quickly, like C's and D's get degrees, and as long as the subjects in my fields of history, education, and psychology, if I could fire off A's in there, it gave me about a B plus average and allowed me to thrive and be good at what I like to do. So again, we take a look at the last week and we say what worked, what didn't, what got moved, and what got skipped. And you make one adjustment for the following week. You don't try to make 10. You don't start fresh Monday. You don't say, like, look, I missed all three of my workouts. So this week I'm going to do six. If you missed three the week before, we're committing to one workout for the next week. And then the following week, you're going to do one workout again until you eventually get one into your system razor sharp and build it up. If you're like, but Rob, I don't want to go that slow, the answer is like, well, the beauty is when you're living a lifestyle of this, you're going to do it forever. So again, let's go back to Terrell. That's just her immediate family right there. And I think it's like a couple cousins, but for the most part, that is the unit. Seven kids, one calendar, 100 pounds lost. And again, Terrell tried every diet, every meal plan, every app. What she had never had was a calendar that treated her life like the actual beast that it was. What we changed is we got her to a one-page weekly layout. We got her into three 35-minute training windows, and we made 5 meals non-negotiable where she either packed her lunch or took it on the route. Here's the best part of Terrell. Not only does she have 7 kids, she is an active member of her church. She is a author, and she also, like, by her own admission, because of her husband's schedule, has to have 2 date nights a month, non-negotiable. And if you have 7 kids and can still fit 2 days a month in with your husband who works on the road for a lot of this, I promise you, I am not going to be the one to take that away from you. So again, we made sure that we had the one-page weekly layout put in place. Then we got the three 35-minute training windows in. We got the meals. We made sure that family pizza night was accounted for and that Sunday she had time to put her feet up and rest. The hour that she took to herself on Sunday became her favorite part of the entire week, and she would share it in the group each time. And that is probably the most important part of self-care and boundary making. Okay, so this is where we get to it. We've gone through 3 keys. We have one system. At this point, I kind of just want to ask, like, does this make sense? Can we like get some more ones in here? Can we get a better feel for it? We covered the muscle priority protocol, how to train so you rebuild the muscle your first year post-op quietly stripped away, and the muscle that actually runs your metabolism. Then the reverse restriction method, how to bring your food back up instead of cutting it down so your body stops fighting you and finally lets the weight go. Then we went over the weekend proof calendar code, how to build a week that survives Thursday night through Sunday so you stop undoing 5 days of work in two. That's the system, and that is the bulk of the busy method. So if you could do me a favor, was this last 90 minutes like worth your time tonight? Did you hear things that maybe nobody told you after surgery? Can you actually see yourself running this? Just share in the chat. Awesome. So many yeses. Heather, Trinell, Kelly, Tara, Anja. Maybe that's an honest answer, Anja, but I promise you, you would not forget Christmas tamales, so you absolutely will remember how to do this. That's how I always teach my clients. Well, would I remember it if it means I could have like 3 extra Christmas tamales and enjoy them? I absolutely would figure this out. But when we get to it, you need to also understand that if you run the keys in the wrong order and you regain, if you skip one and you quit, it's not going to work. If you train for muscle but you skip the food, you're going to regain. The body needs that fuel to build. Without calories, the training breaks you down faster than it builds you up. Then if you eat more but skip the training, you're going to regain faster. Extra calories without muscle to absorb them just become more fat. Same result, different path. Do both but skip the calendar, you're going to quit by week 3. The plan's going to die on Saturday morning. Monday through Thursday discipline cannot save you on a Friday at 9 p.m. So, like I said, that is the system we have. And I see so many people are putting checks and stuff on the screen, which I guess means we're doing well, but it shows you. Yes, we all have the same 24 hours, but how we use it gets it. And learning how to control the calendar is one of the best things to have. Um, if you are 2 weeks post-op, May, stay with me, and I promise you I will show you exactly how to do that as well. So the question is now, what do you do with this? The problem with information is once you have it, you can't really unknow it. And that's really where we have to sit and think about, can you really run this? Does this work for you? So from this point, you have about 2 paths in front of you. Path 1 is the do it yourself path. You take the 3 keys I just gave you and you go build the whole thing yourself. You research progressive overload templates. You build your own log. You figure out the protein floor. You reverse your own calories 100 at a time. You build the weekly layout. You run the Sunday reset. You troubleshoot your own stalls. You sort through every contradictory piece of bariatric advice on the internet and decide what applies to you. It is possible. I want to be honest about that. We have given tons of people this information and they have messaged me, they have called me, put comments on our Instagram page or in our Facebook group or on the podcast and said, Rob, I followed everything you gave me and I lost 30 pounds of myself. And I was like, you know what? That is awesome. And it shows that it works. So it is also the same road you might have been on for the last year or two. You're in this workshop because the road brought you here, and here is not where you want to be. Path 2 is what we do at Busy Bariatrics. It's a 6-month done with you coaching program where we build the entire system for your body, your life, your calendar, your history with food, and your post-op physiology. My team and I had all had bariatric surgery ourselves. We know the mindset traps. We know the nighttime food noise. We know what it is like to stand in a gym for the first time post-op, convinced everyone is watching you. On path 2, you don't have to build the system alone. You run the system that we build. Both paths are real. Both paths work. I want you to pick the one that actually fits your life. So if you're still with me and you want to know about the 6-month coaching program, I'm going to go to this really quick. Here's what the program actually does past the programming check-ins. After 6 months in the program, you do not just have the muscle and the food dialed in. You become the woman who is not living in fear of the scale anymore. You stop white knuckling every weekend and bracing for regain you have been told is coming. You stop restarting on Monday because you never fell off in the first place. You become the woman who lives, not the woman who lost weight and spends every day terrified of gaining it back. The woman who walks into the gym like she belongs there because she does. This is who you become, and deliverables are not just how we get you there. Now, let me be straight about who this program is for and who it is not for, because that matters as much as who it is for. This is not for someone looking for a 30-day fix or the next quick thing. This is built around 6 months of consistent work, because that's how long it takes to rebuild muscle and reset your metabolism for the next 20 years, not the next 20 days. This is not going to be for someone who is not ready to make this a priority for the next 6 months. If you are going to dabble, this will not work, and I would rather you keep your money. This is not for someone who wants to keep doing what you have been doing and hope the scale finally cooperates. The whole point is changing the approach, not running the same restriction cycle one more time with a coach watching. If any of that is where you are right now, no judgment, and that's totally fine. But the assessment call is not going to be useful for either one of us, and I'd rather we both know that right now. So before we go into the bonuses for tonight, I want to ground you back in what is actually possible here. And as we go through this again, we are going to give you in our program custom resistance training, which is built around the muscle priority protocol. We're going to teach you custom nutrition programming, weekly coaching check-ins, direct WhatsApp access, and our whole Thrive Inside the Life library course, which teaches you it with over 200 plus lessons that are covered. So again, it takes 6 months because the foundation is really what it takes, sometimes a month, even two to get down, depending on where you're at and how much we have to do. And then we're going to teach you how to reverse to climb the calories up to 100 calories extra per week and help you make your lifts heavier so that your body comp starts shifting. We're then going to teach you how to lock your calendar in so that you can handle the boulders, rocks, and pebbles that get thrown in your way. And then by month 6, we're going to teach you how to run this on your own so that you never need another diet program again. If you say yes, you're going to become that woman who lifts. You're going to be the woman who stops fearing the regain. You're going to start running your weekend like a Wednesday. So again, if you feel like this is not for you or that you are not willing to commit to doing this work or working with us, we'd rather keep our roster clean with the right women than fill it with the wrong ones. If you are looking for a magic pill, a 30-day fix, or someone to do the lifting and eating for you, this program is not for you. You are not yet 6 months post-op or you have not stabilized after surgery, we need to nuance this and we need to talk. May, I'm specifically talking to you right now and anyone else who is here under 6 months. We have a totally different program for you that helps ensure your success so that regain never even comes into the question, and I can set you up to talk with that. If you are not in a place where you can do the work consistently for the next 6 months, or you cannot commit to a minimum of $150, no shade, but that is kind of where we are at to help you get started and do everything. Again, no judgment, but the call is not going to be useful for either one of us if you're not serious about coaching, and I understand that as well. So let's go back to Tara. Like I said, I want you to remember Tara. She's a mom of 7, homeschooling all of them, 8 months post-op, and convinced she was going to be the cautionary tale in her support group. She lost over 100 pounds, kept every kid homeschooled, and her husband started calling her that lifter girl. The part that still gets me is that she did that by eating more, not by eating less. And then remember Lisa too. Lisa thought that she was done losing weight, eating under 1,000 calories, stuck for 2 years. We put the muscle first and brought her food up, and the scale finally moved. Her words, she was eating more than she had in 2 years, and the weight was finally coming off. These women are not outliers. This is the standard outcome when the system gets run properly with the right support, which brings me to what I want to offer you tonight specifically. If you are still here, I am going to give you 2 bonuses. The first is the Busy Starter Audit. That's going to be a 30-minute personal metabolic and calendar assessment with me or one of our coaching teams. This is the 3 highest leverage fixes for your post-op body, pulled directly from your data, yours for showing up live tonight. The other part is, if you sign up, you will also get the templates and the No Cook Cookbook tossed in for free. Here's what I will do to even save your time. If you just want the readout, you can put into the form and say, I just want the readout. I will give you the data and I will check back with you in 2 weeks to see if you still want to talk about what's working, what's not, and the accountability level. But you need to understand if we get on, this is not going to be a full sales call. It's going to be a roadmap. We're going to look at where you are, and we're going to give you the 3 high leverage fixes that work and decide if this is a fit. For some, you're still not going to be a fit, and I will find you the right resource for what you have. But for many of you, this is the exact thing you've said you've wanted to have, the lifestyle you've always dreamed of after bariatric surgery. So every option does follow the same proven busy method framework, and we'll go over that. And we will cover that later. So if this is something that you are considering and you are ready for this, I want you to text busy for the number that is listed here. If you want to see a live metabolic assessment, now is the time to speak up. If you are the kind of woman willing to do what it takes to get this right, I've had women on these calls who aren't, and that's okay, but I want you to sit with that for a second. Because every woman on this call came here for a reason. You showed up on a Thursday and you stayed for now over an hour. That means something. The question is whether you're willing to stop treating yourself like the last thing on your own list, and when are you going to put yourself first? I know some of you are going to say, I want to think about it. Here's what I've learned. The women who say that usually come back to me 6 months later saying they wish they'd booked that night. Not because the program changed, but because 6 months passed and the problem didn't. What exactly are you going to think about between now and next week that you don't already know right now, in this moment? You've been living with this problem. You know the problem. The only question is whether you're ready to do something different. And to give you an idea, if you are ready to do something different, we have programs that start at $150 again. So, the final part that I want to cover is how we work. If you want to work with us, we do have very limited spots because it is summer. And when I looked and calculated at this, we have roughly spots for 9 people. So do the math of who is on this call and figure out if this works for you. To give you an idea, we only have one-to-one coaching spot left with Lisa on her roster because the last 2 times we ran this workshop, those spots filled incredibly fast. We do have spots on our remote coaching where you can still work with our assistant coaches, Lisa and Kylie, where they will be checking in on you every week. You get access to all the same resources and all the same messages. You just do not have to hold 30 minutes on your schedule. And that is for $250 a month for a 6 month commitment. If you still need something on a budget, we do have our own Hive coaching, which is perfect for self-motivated clients who want accountability, structure, and community. That runs for $150 a month. If that is something that you think you want or that you need, please message Busy and let's hop on a call to at least understand how to fix it. At this time, I'm going to ask for a volunteer to do the metabolic assessment. And before that, are there any questions? Also, guys, Stacy, my assistant, will handle any questions that we have it. I will tell you, Katrina yes, she is still on the call. If she would unmute herself and kind of explain why she did this, she may still be in thank you,
I was
Katrina.
going to raise my hand. I guess
Good.
I'll turn on my video too.
Ladies and gents, Katrina is a current client with us. Katrina, can you kind of like give a little bit about this?
Yeah. So I went to I signed up for one of these Zoom call things and got the free metabolic assessment. Okay, yeah, let me think about it. I'll come back. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm 2 years post-op. I'm almost to goal, blah, blah, blah. And then I come across another one. Well, I'll do another metabolic assessment. So I get on a call with Rob. He's like, we already did this. I'm like, yeah, I know. And so we had a real conversation. And it's like, so I'm 4'11", 2 years post op, and I'm down to like 135. I'm under 140. So I am like so close. I can taste it, but it's like I'm doing the same things I was doing for the last 2 years, and it's not working. So it's you got to change what you're doing. I mean, yeah, I don't know how else to say it.
Katrina, you said it perfectly. And I still remember the phrase when Katrina came on because I remember almost everyone who I've done a metabolic assessment with. And I remember saying to Katrina, one of two things happens when you wait 6 months. Either something drastically changed in your life or you need something to drastically change.
Yeah.
It was at that point Katrina realized she needed to make the change, and she is making up for lost time since she's come back.
Yep. Yeah. And it is a lot. It is a lot. I don't have any kids at home, but I work from home full time. So my schedule's kind of crazy. But, there's an acclimation time. And, if if you're ready, you just make it work. It's taken me probably 2 months to actually get things started. So I've wasted 2 of my 6 months. Well, I haven't wasted it. I've accessed a lot of resources and I've learned a lot of things. I just haven't put it into action yet.
And ladies, this is what we do. We put it all together. We help you clear the roadblocks. And Katrina comes into our calls on Wednesdays with questions of how to put it together. And we help her put it together at every step. So, Katrina, thank you for popping on. If anyone else has any other questions, I'm going to open it for that. And then if someone wants a free live metabolic assessment, I will give that as well. All right. If there's no questions, I will open it up. If iPad 2 will go in, May, I'm going to have you email Stacy. Can you get May's information? Because at
Yes.
2 months post-op, I'm going to give you the free assessment anyway, but it's going to be a totally different one to ensure that you have the best bariatric experience possible. So Stacy, my assistant's going to come on.
Hi,
May, Stacy's going to message you, okay?
got it.
Perfect. Ladies, if you're still here, someone needs to get the metabolic assessment. If you don't want to do it in person, that's fine. I'll send you the message and we'll go from there.
A couple people in chat said they would do it.
I know. May we're going to do separate, but then iPad 2. Is iPad 2 still here? All right, gang. If that's where we're at, what I'll do.
I mean, if they want to see what one looks like, we can go over mine. I don't care.
Sorry, this is Vivian. I don't know how to work my phone, but I'd love to do it. What do I need to
Perfect.
do?
Vivian, can you stay unmuted?
Yep. I
Perfect.
just don't know how to. I don't think you can see me because I'm in the car now. I had to drop my son off.
It's totally fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my screens and we will go from there. So give me 1 second.
And I'm not sure if I'm at 18 months right now from my bariatric surgery, but I'm a little bit older than 55. Is this still going to work for me?
Vivian, we have
Yes.
clients in their 70s thriving
Okay.
in this system.
Okay.
So I am
Okay.
so glad you said that because if there's someone else in here, this has worked for everyone. So do me a favor. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
And if anyone wants to turn their cameras on so I know you're still alive, it would be great. If not, I totally get it. Vivian, what's your last name?
Lacy, Lacy.
Lacey. All right. Female?
Yes.
Age?
58.
58. Height?
5 feet, going strong.
5'8", did I hear?
5 feet, 5 even.
5 even. No
Yeah.
problem. All right, this is where it gets a little awkward. How much do you weigh?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So give me a second to do the math for you. 5'8",
5 feet.
5 feet. That's right. I got to look at my screen. 5 foot,
Sorry. Mhm.
58. So perfect.
58. Yep.
I'm 4'11", so I'm right there with you.
Email. All right. So, Vivian, based on your calculations, what an average energy calculator would tell you is that you should be eating 1900 calories. Now, that does not include if you are, you've had bariatric surgery, what surgery procedure you had, how your lifestyle is, but that's what an average personal trainer, someone would tell you you need to be eating. Now, what is your goal? Are we looking to lose weight here?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Lost 150 pounds already.
And that's phenomenal and amazing work. Seriously, 150?
Yeah.
Seriously, great job by you.
Thank
All
you, but
right.
I still want a little bit more gone.
Absolutely. Vivian, that's why you wouldn't be on this call if you didn't. And that's why I'm so
Okay.
proud that you volunteered because that's the goal of these is to help give you the resources that work for you. All right. Are you tracking your nutrition?
Uh, yes and no. I can't do protein shakes, so I'm trying to up my protein, but it's pretty rough. I'm kind of sad because I just joined a gym and I have a 2 month free personal trainer and he's just not helping me. But I'm dedicated to those 2 months.
I don't want to, yep, I don't want to knock any personal trainer because, like for most personal trainers, if you're meeting them in person, they're making sure that you're completing your workout. What we do is we give you the workout and keep you accountable from all aspects of the work.
Right.
So, what I would have you do from a nutrition standpoint is I would have you start tracking. Start tracking your meals for 2 weeks, and then we review the data. Make sense?
Yep. Sounds
Perfect.
perfect.
All right, workouts. Are you doing any sort of lifting right now?
I am.
Perfect. With the trainer, how many days a week are you working out?
I'm working with him once a week because it's how I can afford. But I do what he tells me 4 days a week. He wants me to work Monday through Friday, so I'm committing 4 days. I can't do five, but I can do four.
Got it. So, what we would recommend, 5 days a week, we would probably scale you back to three.
Okay. Okay.
I'll make the screen a little bigger so everyone can see what we're doing. Cardio, we want about a consistent step goal. And then, Vivian, are you doing any cardio or step goals right now?
I am. I'm doing. The other thing to me is I had to lose the weight to have a knee replacement surgery. So I've had
Perfect.
two this past year in 2025. So I do cardio like crazy
Yeah.
because I can. So yeah.
Totally get it. And my client Erica, we helped lose over 120 pounds, and she has had two knee replacement surgeries and is going strong. So what we would do is track your step goal for 2 weeks, get the average, and then review the data. Make sense?
Yep.
Mobility, are you stretching at all?
Yep.
Awesome. So currently doing it. Recovery, how is your sleep?
That's the problem. I don't sleep. I have a mind that as soon as I want to sleep, everything gets in my head and I can't sleep. I sleep maybe 3 hours a night, and that's a good night. I do not.
So this is a very nuanced one, but the beauty is you're going to get a video that breaks it all down. And each one of these blue lines in our metabolic assessments, have them ready to go. Okay?
Okay.
Hydration, how much are we drinking?
Oh gosh. Minimum 80 ounces a day. Minimum of
Perfect.
water.
So what we would do is strategically move you to about 100 ounces.
Okay.
How are we de-stressing?
The gym.
Perfect. What else are we doing?
um, dog for a walk because I can now. So I walk around my neighborhood, and my goal is to do a 5K before the end of this year. So that's my goal.
Perfect. So based on this and reviewing everything, the three levers that I would say are probably going to be the best to dial in is for nutrition. We want to start tracking consistently.
Okay. So like my fitness pal, or just write it down on a paper? What do you suggest? Or do you guys have something?
We do. We use
Okay.
chronometer. We use chronometer because it allows our coaches to review your data, get updates, and adjust it accordingly. So you don't have to think about that. You just have to practice doing that. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yep.
Cool. Second thing is we want a clear nighttime routine that we would work with for you so that we start regulating your hormones. When we're getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep at night, especially as we get close to menopause or perimenopause, you are going to affect your leptin and ghrelin hormone panels, which causes your hunger cues to go off. It resets uh, your metabolism. Like, remember, we want to get that metabolism firing. So that's probably the next one that we would do and work on. After that, it would probably just be fine tuning your calendar to reflect your goals. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. Does this give you a clear plan that you can start and work on?
It really does. I'm so excited. I wish I'd done this before I got the personal trainer. Nothing against him, but he
Yeah.
doesn't know me.
Does this feel like I have a clear plan for you that you could do and this feels sustainable?
Yes.
Beautiful. That means that we've done our job and we've given you all the keys to success to get moving on your own. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Can you text that busy number
Yep.
and just say this is and text me your email address and I'll send this over? I don't want to leave it in a recording that we're going to send out to like 200.
Oh, yep. Nope.
But appreciate it, Vivian. This is going to be your own. So,
Great. Thank you.
yep, absolutely. All right. So, with that in mind, ladies and gents, if you look at all of this, like I said, here is every video to explain why we do what we do and how we do it. Here is the ability to join the Hive and take advantage of summer camp. We still have some of the top fitness, nutrition, and bariatric experts from across the country presenting and telling you how to get every key ounce out of your journey through. When you complete the metabolic assessment, you'll get the link for the meal planning calendar, the no cook cookbook, the
Give God
podcast.
all the glory wherever he go.
Yep,
And for
and
he let his
everything else.
daughter, he ain't getting
So, if you are still on this call and you would like the free metabolic assessment, what I will say is I'm going to send it out and add it to the chat right now. If you fill it out within the next 48 hours, you will get a free 30-minute call for the first 7 people who complete it. So I'm going to put that in the chat now. Ladies and gents, we just went 95 minutes. I told you we would get done in 90. So with the last 5 minutes, I want to thank you for holding on. I will stay till any questions are asked, but if it is kind of a personal question, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stop the recording so that we can kind of have a talk, and I will stay here till the last questions are answered. I want to thank you again, and as always, keep getting busy if you are leading.